so the face consists of eyes, nose, and mouth. So you can see here, I'm going to show you how to do this teardrop shaped eye. If you take a look at the diagram, it is a teardrop shaped eye. So it's very simply done. However, the shape that you leave is important. And you'll see by the eye here that the outside is dropped down. So it's important that you create that feature because that goes along with the rest of his face. The expression on his face is kind of dictated or enhanced by the eye. So you can see how I've dropped down the outside of the eye. So all you do is find a gouge that is that shape in order to jab it in, and that creates the start, I guess we'll say, of the eye. The nose is similar. You just have to notch in both sides, and of course the mouth is a different feature as well. And his mouth is kind of cockeyed, and remember we said that the mouth is off to one side. Well, he's got this chew in here, and that's what's drawing it off, I guess. Anyway, that's where we're going. First of all, we're going to create a platform for the eye. And so in there, you can see that it's generally shaped, but not very well shaped. So I'm going to work the nose up, create a flat spot in the eye to put that feature in. So the first thing I'll do is I'll start shaping the nose. If somebody hasn't got their nose shaped yet, this is your opportunity. So we're going to take it, and I like to leave a square on the end of the nose, and if I can draw that on, that might help. And I'll leave that high so that if you grab hold of the end of your nose, you'll feel there's a round spot on the end of your nose. So just by massaging the wood down on both sides of that, that'll create my nose. And just leave the square sitting there. So it looks something like that. Now, is that going to get closer on that? Maybe that's a bit better. Okay, and then I'm going to, the size of the nostril is determined by you and you alone, but I'm going to use this gouge. It happens to be a number 9 5mm, and I'm going to put that in like that, and right away you've created the nostril. I'll try and match the other side. Hopefully it works out the same. That's pretty close. And then just use a knife to Now you can use the same gouge, or I usually use the same gouge to create the wing on the side. So I'm going to try and keep that in the camera if I can. So I put it in and turn it as I go put it in. So can you see it's a hollow this way for the nostril, turn the gouge over, and it's a hollow the other way to create the wing. Okay? Try and match that on the other side. That tends to be a little bit difficult sometimes. One's a little bit higher than the other, but we'll make it work. Okay. My boot going too fast here?
When you use the term wing, what are you referencing, Bryan?
Wing is this part of the nose here, this above where the nostril is, where the hole is, and it creates the wing. And now we got to create a hollow above it as well. Okay. And again, I'm going to use the same gouge. It works, so why not use it? So I'm going to just gently massage the above there, and you see how it creates the hollow part in that section above. So that then allows me to create the platform for the eye. I'll set up the other side. It's a bit off center, but not too bad. I always tend anymore to give them that little bump in the nose, where as if he's got a broken nose in that area right there. And then by doing a bit of a hollow above it, and the next one at the bridge, that gives him the shape. So if you look at it side on, can you see it there? Somewhat exaggerated. And finally, I'm going to undercut. I like to have a droopy nose, so I'm going to come down and so all these sharp edges here eventually will come back along, and just take a little, well, I'll demonstrate here. Just take a little bit of the edge off, and that just helps to create the shape. Because there's no sharp edges on a human, or an animal for that matter. Perhaps if I get rid of my square now, you can see it better. No, we still got there. Bit crooked. What I'll do is I'll pass this around, and then you can have another look at it. But for those out there in TV land, there we go. So now I got to create a flat spot in here, and I like to have a pretty sharp edge here, so I use a V tool to.
Not quite in the camera there.
Let me go a bit wider then.
There you go.
Yeah, there we go. So there's a flat spot on that side, and again, lay down the flat side of your V tool down there. So now it's pretty well flat all the way through there, and now I want to turn the outside a little bit, so I got to take some wood off out here. Just by turning it back and forth, so I can create the flat spot. So you can see that's, boy, you can't see very well, can you? Won't focus. There it goes. But pretty tough to see how flat that is. But that whole area in here now has got a flat section to it. And the reason for that is it's easier to draw and then carve on a flat spot. So I'll do the other side. So I can see now that from the center line of his nose out to the edge here is narrower on that side than it is on this side. So I'm going to take a little bit of material off of here to try and equal that up a bit. You got to make an adjustment. Just now's the time to do it. Now you can see that the cheeks are way too proud there. So this happens to be a number 5, 7 millimeter. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to get rid of some of this stuff in here, kind of round it off a little bit. As long as you use the gouge upside down, it starts to create the shape that you need. And you can see that it's substantially different. A little bit of a sharp edge down here I can see. Get rid of that. And now you can see the difference between this one here and this one over here is really sharp. I'll go over here and massage it down a bit. By going in deeper, it's surprising how much more you create there. You create more of a thickness as you go in deeper. This makes a huge difference in the cheeks. And then the next thing is mustache. Now the mustache, I played around with that a little bit, and I tried to create his mustache. If you take a look at it, is a bit off center, and there's no reason why that can't be so here. So in this one here, I did it straight up and down, but off center. So there's no reason why you can't play around with that separation there. And I'm gonna, on this one here, I'm gonna turn it. So something like that. A little bit more severe than what he has. And so come in here and I'm just going to divide that right now so I don't lose that mark.
Did you use a V-tool for that?
I use a V-tool for that, yes. Now I don't like the way the mustache is down. I think it's down by a good 1/8 of an inch lower than what it needs to be. So I'm going to raise it up. And once again, notice that the mustache on his right side goes out more to the side, and on the left side it goes drooping down. It droops down. So draw that on if you haven't already got it shaped. And so we're going to take a V-tool and establish that level. I think this V-tool could have been sharper. So I'm pretty happy with the shape of that. Now you can get out your detail knife and start working on that. I'm going to just put a stop cut in there. I like the way that shape comes down now, so just relieve the wood underneath it. So there's my mustache roughed in. And now where the mouth is going to be opened, I'm going to go over that and push the knife in 3 or 4 times to get a nice stop cut in there. I like the shape of this number 7. It's a 6 millimeter. So the mouth is off to one side, and you can make it whatever shape you like, but as long as you give it some depth in there. That's what the stop cut was for. So I'm going to just come in here and rotate that in there. So that's got his mouth open. came out. And that mark there is, I can see where it could confuse somebody, so I'm going to use my steel eraser there and get rid of that. So now the formation of the lip. You can see that the formation of the lip on the in the diagram is it's really bulbous down at the bottom, and then it tapers up to kind of nothing. So that's what I tried to do with the finished one. So keep this bulbous down here and then taper it up to just about nothing down here. So you can use a knife, you could use a V-tool. I like a nice high-sided gouge to work in there. I have a favorite that I use. Happens to be a number 11 4mm, and you can see that it's shaped so that the cutting edge protrudes the wings, and that allows me to get up underneath. So I'm going to just give that bottom lip a definition and a stop cut with the gouge. And that same number 7, now I can come back and I can shape that, give it that nice round shape. I could do with a little bit more taken off of there, right in there. It's not quite deep enough. A little bit burry there, but not bad. Okay, I'll pass this around. So that's a lot closer. What I did was I put my gouge on there, and you can see the amount of space on the outside here that's left over. So if I bring it into the center line, and so then over on the other side, it's pretty much the same on the other side now. So this side here and this side here are pretty close to being equal. Okay? Okay. Sorry? I reversed. No, I don't have reverse, but you can reverse it when you take a look at the video.
This, Bryan, this fellow has a fairly flat face, so doesn't he?
Very flat face, yeah. Most unusual compared to, I don't like a flat face, but in order to get the features in there, that's the way the diagram is, or the design is, so that's what we'll go with. All right, I'm going to pick out a gouge, and this happens to be a number 7. But a number 9 or a number 11 would work just as well. Somewhere around, this is a 3mm, but something that fits. And by that I mean something that'll go in here and actually fit in that hole. I'm going to try and fill as much of that space that I've got here as possible. So if you notice, that gouge just fits right in there. It's just a nice snug fit. But when I push that in, I want to push it in so that it creates the slope coming away. In other words, that teardrop effect coming away. So you can mark it, pencil it in if you like. I'm not going to pencil it. So I'm going to jab that in and just get a stop cut. So if I just put it in and give it a rotate, all right, and there's the start of his eye right there. Okay. So now, assuming everybody is right-handed, now you can take a look at that and go on the other side and duplicate it in the same spot. So I'm going to put it in and give it a bit of a twist. And so now, there's my 2 eyes started. So now, if you want to pencil in, you can, but we want to have it come down to a point. So that eye can be whatever shape you like, or whatever distance width-wise. You can see in the diagram that they're fairly, oops, where are we? That they're fairly long. So you can make that as long as you want. But all we did was create this circle in here. And by pushing that gouge in, you created that situation where you created it. All right, so I'm going to try, again, I'm going to work on this side because I'm right-handed.
To measure your eyes, do you have a straight line?
And this one here then can be a little bit longer and maybe a little bit further down.
Typically, you do that, right? Get the inside of each eye, right?
All right, so then they look more or less the same size. Hopefully they'll come out that way. Now get a real sharp pointed knife, strop it if you have to. And so there's my knife I'm going to use. All right, so you can start.
That way, at least they're,
You can start by bringing that down, and don't come all the way. Just stop it short of where the V meets. Come all the way down and stop it just short, and then turn it over and to create that sharp point in the eye. Oops, how's that?
Yeah?
So turn it over and create that sharp point in the eye there. All right, so that's upside down, but there you go. So all we did basically was create a stop cut all the way around the outside. I always like to do on one side the same on the other side right away, because otherwise I forget. So that's what I'm going to do. Start in the hollow where I've had the notch with the gouge. So stop cut all the way around. That's basically all there is to it. Now all we got to do is round the eye. Did you want me to pass this around? Or it's okay? Okay. So then all you got to do is, I'm going to go in and I'll work on this one eye here, and hopefully you'll be able to see it. I'm going to just take off a sliver to create that shadow, top and bottom. A little bit in the corner where the round section is. Doesn't want to come out. There it goes. And down at the very sharp point of the V, right down in there, just pop that edge out. And so we're not taking out great gobs of material here, we're just taking out little bits and pieces. A little bit burry in there. There it goes. Now can I get in a little bit tighter on that so that you can see it? Come on, focus. There it goes. So, not a whole bunch of material out of the sides, but what that does is it creates the eyeball. That's the raised section in the middle by simply removing the wood around the outside. Okay. So obviously the same thing on the other side. Alright, so now in order to enhance that eye a little bit, I want to bring this edge of his eye out. So I'm going to put a stop cut, straight up and down cut, out from the corner of the eye, and then I'm going to come underneath and take that little wedge out of there. And see how it extends that eye by doing that? And then I'm going to take a small V-tool and, you know, something like that, or even smaller. I've got a smaller one here that might be, Wilf doesn't have a small one anymore. He broke his. Anyway, I'm going to come underneath and I'm going to create the bottom eyelid by taking just a slight little wedge out of that. And where I put that stop cut in, that's where I'm going to end the V-tool. So I'm going to bring it in and just stop it there and pop out that piece. So that gives them that little eyelid that goes underneath. Switch to the next size up V-tool, and now I'm going to create the eyelid above. And if I have to remove material, I remove material. And that extends out as well. Okay, something like that. Now I'll do the other side. So it looks something like that. So you can see I've got a top eyelid and a bottom eyelid now, and it extends out to the side. Bring it down slightly over the side of his face. Same on this side. There's the nose is more or less set. I've got the cuts all the way up here. So now I want to separate the brow. So that separates the eyebrows. And then I'll massage a little bit, either with a gouge or with a knife. It doesn't matter which. The brows a little bit here, so that they aren't quite as sharp an edge on where they join on to the eye. You want to have the eye as the feature, not the eyebrows. So I'm just going to take that sharp edge off there, and you might have a smaller tool that can work in there, but use whatever tool fits. So then once you get that established, then it's just a question of hollowing out above that in order to create the brow. So if you just hollow out just above that, notice there's a separation here, and then hollow out above that, and then it works its way back underneath the brim of the hat. So no big deal there, just have to just start doing it. I typically use a knife in there, so just put a knife in there and start, leave the brow itself, and then just start to undercut. You lay the knife on the brow itself and then just start to remove some wood. All you're interested in here is a shadow line. So you can see how that creates that shadow line under there. You can see the shadow line on this side, but not on the other side. So you're just creating that shadow line. I haven't even bothered with the peak of the hat yet. I'll shape the hat when I go to get the hands and the glove shaped. Okay, so then I want to come down the side of the face. So if you take a look at my finished one here, you'll see that I put a stop cut in here, and then take that little wedge out of that corner there. That creates that nice little definition and shadow line for the side of the nose. So I really jab that in and then work this in to that. See, just bring that in like that, and then I can come up underneath and remove that chip. And see, creates that nice shadow line in there. Stop cut it all around the nose, so that then I can massage this a little bit and take any rough edges out I might have created. Same on the other side. Okay, so there's the mouth formed with the hollow in here and the bulbous section here. Looks like my chip came out in the middle, but that's okay, we can work around that. So now you got to work with the chin, and the chin has to fit in with what the potential of the side of the face would be at the back. So in order to leave this bulbous here for the chew in here, we have to start to par down some of this wood on the, especially on the other side. And that enhances the mustache coming down as well. And maybe even a little bit more here. Start to work the chew in there.
Conrad Black's son got himself in hot water again.
Oh, what did he do?
Assaulted his girlfriend.
Broken wrist. Turn the
He said she
the gouge upside
She didn't want
down.
to listen.
Make sure you're just outside an arm's reach.
I thought the knife was
Let's
gonna
see,
go.
her wingspan can just brush the side of your cheek there.
That's what he said, right? I'm just saying what he said.
So by taking some material off the bottom, you can move it up. If you want to leave it down, you can leave it down. I think I'll move it up just a little bit by taking some off of the bottom here. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. Good enough? Let's go on with the mustache. So this side here is pretty obvious. I mean, it just droops down. So I'm going to bring it down and end up with some sort of a point down here. My pen would work. There we go. So droop it down pretty good. Just like he has in the diagram here. It comes down and kind of just about hangs over the side of his chin down here. And on the other side, it's a little bit higher, but that's just because of the shape of it. So we'll kind of draw that in as well. Bring it to a point down here. So we've already got the bottom half of the mustache established, so we just have to do the top half. And a combination of a V-tool and a knife will solve that. I'm going to just Finish off that side so that he's got a definition in here. And likewise on the other side. Might have to use a knife on this because it's getting into the other wood. I'm able to get in there. This foot is in the way. So once you get your stop cuts in there and you're satisfied with them with the V-tool, then you can come around and get a deeper cut with your knife. Try and put that in with just a bit of a slant so that it gives the mustache a bit of thickness. So then you can remove the wood behind it because it's got to line up with the chin here. You remove a little bit of wood behind here in order to make that work out. And I guess you can make the cheek as bulbous as you like, but by removing that hunk of wood in there, in here, that makes the mustache pop out. So likewise on the other side, same. And use a gouge or a knife to massage the edge of the side of his face so that now the mustache sticks out on both sides. So we've come a long way today.
Is the hairline, or the hairs on the mustache, right?
The hairs on the mustache are just pretty well basically the same as what you see in the diagram. He's got a very good definition. See, the shape of the hair, or the cuts in the hair, the V cuts in the hair, helps to enhance the features of the face. So you can notice that his left side mustache droops down. So they're long cuts, okay? And the mustache on the other side splays out because it has to come up over that chew. So you've got a sharper angle and shorter hair.
Would you use a V-tool on that?
I use a V-tool on that. Yeah, a V-tool helps it has a sharp bottom on it. Sometimes I'll use a high-sided gouge, a number 11 gouge, but a V-tool seems to work really good in there. And you could draw them on ahead of time. I'll use a pencil. So you can see how this is all nice and long here. So it goes right up. Notice that it goes right up into the nose. Starts at the nose. Goes all the way. So you have the odd one that droops over. So it looks something like that. Doesn't look like much yet. So then, but these on this side here start to curl out. And the further out you go, the longer they come. So just get a half-decent V-tool and hopefully the fibers will hold good enough for you.
Cut very deep, pretty shallow.
Oh, pretty deep. And then make sure that once you get them established, that you turn over the bottom. And so that there's a kind of an end to that V cut. Get rid of my pencil marks. I'll just do the one side so that then I'll pass it around so you can have a look at it.